Hey, today I'm talking about Avatar and two films that it blatantly ripped off, and how I'm okay with that. First up is Avatar. I hate the name of this movie a lot. I get why he called it Avatar, because technically, you know, Sigourney Weaver and whatever the other guy's name is, they're in avatars, and it's got like big spiritual meaning, but also like at the time, it was a very commonly used term for internet things, your avatar. It was a thing. Also, there's a TV show that already has that name, so that's why it's dumb. Also, again, I hate one-word name titles, though. I'm okay with it when it's like uncommon words, like Matrix. That was, well, in 1999, from a 9-year-old's perspective, Matrix was not a common word. I know it is, like, whatever, things. Anyway, done with first tangent. So, I have seen this movie before. Back in 2009, I watched it twice in theaters, and it was a great experience. And honestly, it still was a great experience this time, sort of. This movie isn't really a movie. It is a spectacle. It is just awe and wonder. These big, beautiful shots of incredible landscapes that all happen to be digital, which is extra nifty. And it's just like the whole first half of the movie is like that one shot in Jurassic Park where you're seeing all the dinosaurs for the first time and you're hearing the big iconic song. Literally the first half of the movie is just that for an hour and a half. This movie's super long, by the way. Now, I wouldn't have minded that had I watched this movie differently. I say that because I watched this streaming on Disney+. And if you don't know anything about what streaming does to the quality of movies, that's a really big subject that I can't get into. Like, you just need to research that yourself. It compresses the hell out of them and makes them look bad. In particular, when you have a ton of small moving things, it looks really, really, really bad on streaming. Just look up any slow-mo guys videos where they do, like, they have good examples. But that's what the whole first half of this movie is a ton of little tiny things moving around all over the place, because there is a fuck ton of detail in this movie, and it's really impressive if you're not streaming this movie. I honestly think this movie should not be on Disney+. The only two ways you should be able to watch this movie are on physical copy or in a movie theater. Now, don't get me wrong, in general, I love streaming because it gives you access to so much content. Like, I wouldn't be able to do this show if I had to literally pay for each individual thing that I'm watching. That'd be insane. But this is the exception. You should not watch this movie streaming. Don't. If you've never seen it before, especially don't. Because this movie is insanely gorgeous, and you are getting robbed of the experience by watching it on streaming. Do I want to complain about this movie more? Yeah, sure, okay. There's really bad dialogue in this movie. There's a lot of dumb things in this movie. It's very blatantly just Pocahontas and FernGully, The Last Rainforest. I've also heard it's just a ripoff of Dances with Wolves, which I almost watched but didn't because it's also really, really long and I just don't have time for that. But I'm okay with that for a few different reasons. Not necessarily Dances with Wolves thing, but the other two. Because, in particular with FernGully, FernGully is not a good movie. I will get into more later. And with this just being a remake of that, I think that's exactly how Hollywood should be doing remakes. They should take stories where it failed for some reason, redo them again, trying to make it better, and hopefully succeed. And that's honestly what they did here. They took a not good story and turned it into something amazing. Though it is still dumb. There's so many dumb things with this movie. I'm not gonna get into all the dumb things. There's so much dumb. And then with Pocahontas, I'm okay with it remaking that as well because the Disney cartoon's bullshit. So like, it makes more sense just to steal that bullshit story and turn it into something more rather than what they did with changing history, though in a sense they were just going off of myths and stuff, but they did intentionally change things that made it worse. I don't know, it's a whole thing. I'll get more into it in a second. So yeah, no, I'm honestly completely fine that it ripped off both Pocahontas and FernGully. I don't know about Dances with Wolves. I'll watch that movie at some point and then get back to you. Yeah. I will add too, that besides the spectacle of the situation, this movie also nails the excitement and emotions in the second half. Like, yeah, you know how the story's gonna play out, but like, it's still a lot of fun. And it's very, very insanely on the nose, like the most on the nose with its messaging you could possibly get. But it's a good message and also it's fine. I don't mind it. So yeah, I actually quite enjoyed this movie. I would definitely recommend it. Just don't fucking watch it on Disney+. Don't. Buy it, it's worth it, or they have been putting it in theaters sometimes. You don't have to watch it in 3D though, that's fine. You can if you want to. I'm not gonna stop you there. That's up to you. All right, I'm done now. Our next up is Pocahontas. This is a 1995 Disney film, and this was so weird. So like, I knew that the story they told isn't factually correct. Pocahontas was somewhere between the age of like 11 and 13 when stuff happened. She also didn't hook up with John Smith. She hooked up with a different John. The conflict with the bad guys is probably different. Also, Pocahontas maybe saving John Smith is potentially bullshit. So it was hard getting into the movie just because I knew all the bullshit. It's also Mel Gibson. Not gonna add anything more there, I think you know. So like, I tried to look at this movie from like a music perspective, which music was really good. It's not exactly my taste besides the Colors of the Wind song. I thought I was gonna like Just Around the Riverbend more because I remember liking that one a lot as a kid, but I didn't super care for it this time. I mean, it was fine. It just didn't like strike a chord the way I thought it would, especially the way the Colors one does. And animation is ridiculously beautiful. Like Pocahontas looks freaking amazing in like the watercolor section. That was amazing, but like didn't help keep my attention. I tried to like get into the love story of it because this is just a love story, but I did not care for the love story aspect because it's literally just, oh hey, you're hot, I'm hot, let's bang. And then the other person's like, yeah, I agree, we're both hot, we should bang. And that's it. Obviously I'm being a little facetious, but that's essentially it though. There's no chemistry there. Like in Avatar, they spent a long time establishing how the two main characters fell in love. Like they weren't super into each other first, they were kind of just friendly-ish, kind of. But then they literally spent all day, every day for 3 months together, and they shared in some big emotional moments together. So by the time that they did finally hook up, which they edited out, which is total bullshit, it was earned. They honestly earned the relationship. Also, side note, I'm just gonna go on an Avatar tangent. It's weird how long the movie is, but yet how underdeveloped all of the characters are, or like one-notey. It's like 3 hours, but there's not a lot of depth to anyone, most people. You can make arguments to some, but it's still just like, how? It's so long, how can you not? Whatever, it's fine, back to Pocahontas. So yeah, what did I like about this movie? I liked the animals. They were really silly and felt out of place for the story, and they really shouldn't have been there, but they were cute and I enjoyed them. So yeah, I didn't super care for this movie. I mean, I put it in the liked, it was fine. In general, I don't super recommend it, but if you really like Pocahontas as a kid, yeah, sure, go for it. It's fine. And lastly is FernGully, The Last Rainforest. This movie is so weird because like, I know what happens, but they don't, how do I even say this? They don't, it's like, okay, take a shirt, just a regular t-shirt, a graphic tee, sure, let's go with that. And then you crinkle it super, super bad so that like it really, really, really needs to be ironed. But then you don't iron it and just wear it anyway. That's what this movie is. But it's to the point of like, you really can't tell what the graphic tee is anymore. Like, is that Star Wars? Is that Avengers? Is that Nirvana? What is your shirt? Like, that's basically what this movie is. The music was good, but didn't work at all. I appreciated how the day was saved at the end. Also, I'm a big fan of yeah, I don't know. It was weird. It was kind of pretty at times, but then also kind of really cheap at times. Also, it's set in Australia, but no one has an Australian accent, which I was kind of personally really offended by because one of my best friends is Australian. Hi, Jamie. I don't know if you're watching this. I'm offended on her behalf. So, would I recommend this movie? No, it's not good. Though, I like parts of it. But that's not enough to convince me to tell you to watch it. Just watch Avatar. It's literally the same story. It's crazy how many striking visuals are the exact same as Avatar. Like, it's literally like James Cameron just watched Pocahontas and FernGully, put them both together, took out the songs, because why? And then just made a movie. Yeah, that's it. That's all he did. And that's fine, because it's good. Unlike these two movies, which weren't. Okay, I'm done now. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Avatar, sitting at number 128 in the quite like section. And then after that is Pocahontas, sitting at number 182 in the liked section. And then bringing up the rear, rightfully so, is FernGully, The Last Rainforest, sitting at number 243 in the didn't like category. And this is out of a total of 264 old movies so far this year.